Best Dag Hammarskjold quotes. God does not die on the day when we cease to believe in a personal deity, but we die on the day when our lives cease to be illumined by the steady radiance, renewed daily, of a wonder, the source of which is beyond all reason. For all that has been, thanks. To all that shall be, yes. The UN wasn't created to take mankind into paradise, but rather, to save humanity from hell. Our work for peace must begin within the private world of each of us. To build for man a world without fear, we must be without fear. To build a world of justice, we must be just. I don't know who, or what, put the question. I don't know when it was put. I don't even remember answering. But at some moment I did answer yes to someone, or something, and from that hour I was certain that existence is meaningful and that, therefore, my life, in self-surrender, had a goal. Never, for the sake of peace and quiet, deny your own experience or convictions. We've got to learn hard things in our lifetime, but it's love that gives you the strength. It's being nice to people and having a lot of fun and laughing harder than anything, hopefully every single day of your life. Each morning we must hold out the chalice of our being to receive, to carry, and give back. It must be held out empty, for the past must only be reflected in its polish, its shape, its capacity. To have humility is to experience reality, not in relation to ourselves, but in its sacred independence. It is to see, judge, and act from the point of rest in ourselves. Then, how much disappears, and all that remains falls into place. In the point of rest at the center of our being, we encounter a world where all things are at rest in the same way. Then it becomes a mystery, a cloud, a revelation, each man a cosmos of whose riches we can only catch glimpses. The life of simplicity is simple, but it opens to us a book in which we never get beyond the first syllable. You cannot play with the animal in you without becoming wholly animal, play with falsehood without forfeiting your right to truth, play with cruelty without losing your sensitivity of mind. He who wants to keep his garden tidy does not reserve a plot for weeds. Forgiving is forgetting, in spite of remembering. For all that has been, thank you. For all that is to come, yes. Constant attention by a good nurse may be just as important as a major operation by a surgeon. The concept of loyalty is distorted when it is understood to mean blind acceptance. It is correctly interpreted when it is assumed to cover honest criticism. Freedom from fear could be said to sum up the whole philosophy of human rights. Never measure the height of a mountain until you have reached the top. Then you will see how low it was. The only kind of dignity which is genuine is that which is not diminished by the indifference of others. Do not look back and do not dream about the future. It will neither give you back the past, nor satisfy your other daydreams. Your duty, your reward, your destiny, is in the present moment. Never let success hide its emptiness from you, achievement its nothingness, toil its desolation. And so, keep alive the incentive to push on further, that pain in the soul which drives us beyond ourselves. Do not look back. And do not dream about the future, either. It will neither give you back the past, nor satisfy your other daydreams. Your duty, your reward, your destiny, are here and now. Life only demands from you the strength that you possess. Only one feat is possible, not to run away. You are merely the lens in the beam. You can only receive, give, and possess the light as the lens does. If you seek yourself, you rob the lens of its transparency. You will know life and be acknowledged by it according to your degree of transparency, your capacity, that is, to vanish as an end and remain purely as a means. In the presence of God, nothing stands between Him and us. We are forgiven. But we cannot feel His presence if anything is allowed to stand between ourselves and others. If only I may grow firmer, simpler, quieter, warmer. Your position never gives you the right to command. It only imposes on you the duty of so living your life that others can receive your orders without being humiliated. There is a point at which everything becomes simple and there is no longer any question of choice, because all you have staked will be lost if you look back. Life's point of no return. It is more important to understand the ground of your own behavior than to understand the motives of another. What makes loneliness and anguish is not that I have no one to share my burden, but this, I have only my own burden to bear. Forgiveness breaks the chain of causality because he who forgives you out of love takes upon himself the consequences of what you have done. Forgiveness, therefore, always entails a sacrifice. The price you must pay for your own liberation through another's sacrifice is that you in turn must be willing to liberate in the same way, irrespective of the consequences to yourself. Pray that your loneliness may spur you into finding something to live for, great enough to die for. Respect for the word, to employ it with scrupulous care and an incorruptible heartfelt love of truth, is essential if there is to be any growth in a society or in the human race. To misuse the word is to show contempt for man. It undermines the bridges and poisons the wells. It causes man to regress down the long path of his evolution. We are not permitted to choose the frame of our destiny, but what we put into it is ours. Unless there is a spiritual renaissance, the world will know no peace. We all have within us a center of stillness surrounded by silence. The great commitment is so much easier than the ordinary everyday one. To reach perfection, we must all pass, one by one, through the death of self-effacement. When you have reached the point where you no longer expect a response, you will at last be able to give in such a way that the other is able to receive, and be grateful. When love has matured and, through a dissolution of the self into light, become a radiance, then shall the lover be liberated from dependence upon the beloved, and the beloved also be made perfect by being liberated from the lover. The more faithfully you listen to the voices within you, the better you will hear what is sounding outside. Time always seems long to the child who is waiting, for Christmas, for next summer, for becoming a grown-up, long also when he surrenders his whole soul to each moment of a happy day. The longest journey is the journey inwards. Of him who has chosen his destiny, who has started upon his quest for the source of his being. What you must dare, is to be yourself. So rests the sky against the earth, the dark still tarn in the lap of the forest. As a husband embraces his wife's body in faithful tenderness, so the bare ground and trees are embraced by the still, high, light of the morning. I feel an ache of longing to share in this embrace, to be united and absorbed. A longing like carnal desire, but directed towards earth, water, sky, and returned by the whispers of the trees, the fragrance of the soil, the caresses of the wind, the embrace of water and light. Content? No, 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 but refreshed, rested, while waiting. In a dream I walked with God through the deep places of creation, past walls that receded and gates that opened through hall after hall of silence, darkness and refreshment, the dwelling place of souls acquainted with light and warmth, until, around me, was an infinity into which we all flowed together and lived anew, like the rings made by raindrops falling upon wide expanses of calm dark waters. Be grateful as your deeds become less and less associated with your name, as your feet ever more lightly tread the earth. You dare your yes, and experience a meaning. You repeat your yes, and all things acquire a meaning. When everything has a meaning, how can you live anything but a yes? When the morning's freshness has been replaced by the weariness of midday, when the leg muscles give under the strain, the climb seems endless, and suddenly nothing will go quite as you wish, it is then that you must not hesitate. Forgiveness is the answer to the child's dream of a miracle by which what is broken is made whole again, what is soiled is made clean again. Perhaps a great love is never returned. Peacekeeping is not a job for soldiers, but only soldiers can do it. Only one feat is possible, not to have run away. Creative people have to be fed from the divine source,